Welcome to Forensic Friday, where I tell you one true crime case that was solved using forensic science, all while doing, that's right, my makeup. Today's video will be featuring the Cellophane palette from Ucanbe. This is an Amazon-owned brand. This is the inside, and oh yeah, baby, I think we're gonna love her. Good morning, Detective Inspector Lucy. She has decided to join us. It's early for her too. It's 5:30 a.m. in the morning. We also have another investigator here with us today. She's in training. She is just propped right here on my nose because it is that time of the month. Yeah, you guys know how it is. What I'm wearing and all of the other products I'm using in this video will be linked in the description below. Please read the disclaimer. I am not a professional makeup artist, beauty guru, forensic pathologist, or anything in criminal law. I'm just the average girl at home like you, planning makeup and talking about true crime. So if you love true crime and makeup, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future episodes, and share my videos if you want to support me. And let's get into today's case. Now this all takes place in Sioux Falls, South Dakota on a cool February morning in 2006. I may or may not have said the wrong date. You guys already know. It's the period curse. It's the period curse. When Darlene Vanderheensen, I think that's how you say her name, Vanderheensen, didn't show up to work. Darlene worked at a company called JDS Industries. Now, JDS Industries, they make trophies for sports teams and stuff like that. That's really cool. Now, this was the second day that Darlene hadn't shown up to work. So her boss was really concerned because she normally would never miss a day of work. She wasn't the type to just like miss a day of work and not call in and not say like why she wasn't there. When she didn't show up, her boss called her parents, and her parents immediately went over to Darlene's apartment because they couldn't get in touch with her either. Now, Darlene's parents had a spare key to her apartment. I don't know why. I wouldn't let my parents have no spare key to my apartment. Hell no. So anyway, her parents headed over to her apartment when they couldn't get in touch with her. And they had a spare key to the apartment, so when she did not answer the door, they just went inside. And that is when they found Darlene's cell phone sitting on the kitchen table, but Darlene was nowhere to be found. Darlene was deaf. And so she always would take her cell phone with her everywhere she went. She would oftentimes use her cell phone to communicate. You know, that was like a major tool for her, being a deaf person, to be able to write out messages or things that she wanted to say, like little notes to show to people whenever she could not get her point across or the communication wasn't clear. So yeah, this was super alarming for them that her cell phone would be home, but that she wouldn't. It just didn't make any sense. And when detectives looked at Darlene's phone records, they found that she hadn't used her cell phone for 2 whole days. Police didn't find anything else in the apartment to indicate foul play. There was nothing else moved around or out of place. It didn't look like there had been an intruder or anything like that. There was no sign of forced entry. So it was really like she just disappeared out of thin air. Her car was not home though. That's one thing that wasn't there. Her car wasn't home either. Later that evening, police received a phone call from a restaurant employee reporting that there was an abandoned truck in the restaurant parking lot. It was Darlene's truck. So police were hoping that they would find some evidence that would point to what had happened to Darlene. Perhaps someone in the restaurant, maybe a worker or even like a customer, had seen something. So they questioned workers and customers, but no one in the restaurant remembered seeing her. Darlene's parents told police that she had been using the internet to meet men. Now remember, you guys, this is in 2006. So using the internet to date was like something very taboo. It was let's say it was fairly new. I mean, there was internet dating, don't get me wrong. There was definitely internet dating. I think internet dating started in the 90s. Maybe it was sooner than that. I don't know, don't quote me. I'm not an internet historian. whatever the heck that is. It was considered dangerous, definitely an unconventional way of dating back then. So Darlene met this dude online and she was starting to talk with him and date him. And Darlene's parents were really afraid for her. You know, they told her to be careful. They really did not want her dating online. And I think her mother says, you know, there's a lot of weirdos online. Investigators sent Darlene's computer to a forensics lab for testing. They used a piece of software called Encase. Software, they are able to run different types of searches. They can run internet searches, messaging searches like text messaging or any sort of messaging app searches. Found out what pages she had visited, what times, what dates, you know, when and where. They were looking into Darlene's computer. They found a few, meaning like several, different threatening emails to her from a woman named Wendy Smith. At least that was like how she was described online. The heading when the email popped up said, you know, Wendy Smith. You know how it has the name and then it has like the email address? And Darlene received these emails from this woman 10 days before her disappearance. Now these emails were very poorly written. The sentences were very choppy. It almost appeared like a child had written them. Emails read, "Hello, Darlene. You are a troublemaker. You are an ugly and stupid bitch, and I hate you." Definitely sounds like, I don't know, a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old. Well, because she cursed, I would put her up to 12. If you're 10 and you're cursing, no, that's not happening. Police asked friends and family members of Darlene if they knew this Wendy Smith woman. They all said that Darlene did not know a woman by that name, that the emails made no sense. Investigators thought it may have been a deaf person writing the emails because the language wasn't that clear. Like I said, these sentences were very unstructured, very almost childlike. Not to say that all deaf people write like this, that because they're deaf. It definitely was not a normal conversation that you would hear between two adults. From my understanding, deaf people do not speak the same type of conversational English as hearing people do. It's just different. And if you think about it, it's not that far off that Darlene would have a hearing impaired friend, since she herself is also hearing impaired. And police thought this as well. Police reached out to Yahoo and had them subpoena to hand over all the information from this account so that they would be able to track these emails back to the original creator. Now, the computer analyst found that Darlene had met a local guy online. His name was Jeff Flynn, and they had been dating. Flynn worked on a farm about 90 minutes away, and he was a field hand. So investigators went to Flynn's apartment to pay him a little visit. And surprise, surprise, Flynn was missing too. I have no idea what baking is, but we out here trying. We're trying to bake cakes over here. I can bake a cake. I can bake a cake. Oh my God. I just got powder everywhere. That's how you know I'm not a professional makeup anything right there. Ooh! What? This is usually what happens whenever I try to bake something. I get shit everywhere. Investigators spoke with friends of his, and they said that they hadn't seen him for a few days and that it was very unusual for him to just leave town. I'll say. I think it's unusual too. Is this okay? I have no idea. This is only the second time I've baked, and on my face, you know. Help me. What am I doing? Ooh. All I know is I'm getting powder everywhere, whatever the hell I'm doing. Police suggested to Darlene's parents that perhaps Darlene just ran off with this guy, Flynn, and I don't know, on some romantic getaway, something. I don't know. People do weird things, okay? Darlene's parents wasn't having it. They were like, honey, Darlene would never, ever do something like that. It's just not in her personality, which honestly, it's kind of like, you can't really say that, because let me tell you, everything is in everybody's personality. Now, 4 days later, and Jeff returns. And guess what? Police are waiting for him. Now, he tells them that he was visiting a friend out of town, and he's acting very nervous, of course. And he appears to be genuinely concerned for Darlene. Investigators took blood samples from... Investigators took samples from the inside of Jeff's car, and they found what appeared to be dried blood stains inside of his trunk. Forensic testing confirmed that it was, in fact, blood. Now they just needed to find out if it was human. Further forensic testing showed that it was not Darlene's blood. It was deer blood. Boy out here killing deals. He should still go to jail for that. Out here killing Bambi. What's wrong with you? As you can imagine, this was a huge relief for Darlene's parents. This meant that Darlene could still be alive out there somewhere. During this time, forensic computer analysts were able to track the source of the harassing emails. Detective Inspector Lucy has just gotten some new information in for us, so she is filling me in. She's briefing me, so give us a second. What's that, detective? Oh, you're eating my hair. No, baby, no. The emails came from a home in downtown Sioux Falls where a woman named Daphne Wright lived. She was also deaf, which explains the way the emails were written. Daphne told police that she met Darlene a couple different times at the deaf apartments, is what she called it. I guess they're apartment complexes for the hearing impaired, and that she met her at the ASL club. When police did a background check on 42-year-old Daphne Wright, they found that she had no criminal record. Just because you don't have a criminal record don't mean you ain't a criminal. Trust me, it just means you ain't got caught yet. When police questioned her, Daphne denied any involvement, and she said, or signed rather, she was like, I don't send any emails. It could have been a hacker. But the detectives are not buying it, and they're like, look, you're lying. We don't believe your hacker story. We believe you sent those emails to Darlene. Then she cracks. She's like, yeah, I did send those emails. It's like, wow, girl, if it was gonna be that easy, why even lie? They found out that Daphne had gotten to a public altercation with Darlene 5 days before her disappearance. Darlene was having dinner with Daphne's former lover, Sally. Isn't Jeff Darlene's boyfriend though? So I'm kind of confused. This altercation was a big thing. The police were called out and Daphne was escorted off of the property. Daphne told police that she was jealous because Darlene was causing problems between her and her ex. She was telling police like, yeah, you know, I was upset with her and I sent those threatening emails because she was destroying my relationship with Sally. And I'm like, I thought she was your ex though, boo. So how's she destroying your relationship when she your ex? Y'all don't have a relationship. You don't have a relationship. Right? That's what I'm thinking. But actually, Sarah and Darlene were just friends. Darlene wasn't even a lesbian. And Daphne is over here still freaking out. I do think it's a little odd though. I'm not gonna lie, Daphne and Darlene had similar kind of looks to each other. They were a little bit more butch or tomboy, if you will. I hope that's not offensive to anybody. And it's weird because both of their names start with D, Darlene, Daphne. I don't know, maybe nothing really was going on, or maybe something was really going on and that Darlene was just trying to cover it up and Sally was trying to cover it up. I don't know. Darlene told friends shortly after the incident that she had spoken with Daphne and they cleared things up. But when police interviewed Daphne, it was apparent that jealousy was still an issue. She told them that she believed Darlene and Sally was still seeing each other because Sally would lie a lot of the times and that she believed they were just hiding it. Police began to theorize that Darlene was a victim of a love triangle gone wrong. I'd say really, really wrong. At this point, Daphne Wright was their main suspect. They were like, this is our girl, we got her. And they decided to take a closer look into the whereabouts of Daphne on the night that Darlene had disappeared. Police needed to get inside of Daphne's house, so they executed a search warrant on her home, and they found some really, really alarming things when they got in there, let me tell you. Now it's time to go into the palette, but anyway, back to the story. So police found some really, really not so good things in the home. Police would describe the home as smelling like paint and cleaning supplies, especially when they went towards the basement. It was like the further down they got into the basement, the more it smelled like paint and cleaning supplies. They took a look through her trash and they found a receipt for a chainsaw from an Ace Hardware store. The date on the receipt showed that the chainsaw had been purchased just a couple days prior. They also found a half a gallon of chainsaw oil. This girl was cranking it up down there. What was she about to do? Only thing was, police did not find any chainsaw in Daphne's home or anywhere else on her property. So they're kind of wondering where this missing chainsaw is, you know? Investigators also noticed that the basement had been repainted with blue paint. In fact, there was areas that were still tacky. And the way the basement was painted was very, very odd. There would be like certain areas or spots that were painted in the basement, but not the entire basement was painting blue. Like if you go to paint a room, obviously you're gonna paint the whole room blue. Well, it was like one wall would be blue, or one section of the wall would be painted blue, or there was like spots on the concrete floor in the basement that would be painted blue, but nothing else would be painted blue. It was almost as if she was pointing out certain areas for them to pay attention to that she thought she was covering. Oh my God, girl. In addition to this weird painting style, the paint was still sticky, which indicated that it was just recently painted. Also in the basement, there was a small storage room that was originally used to store coal, I believe. And inside of this room was also painted blue, but the entire floor inside of this room was painted blue instead of just a spot. They also discovered some very distinctive cut marks in the concrete of the basement floor. Investigators thought that these marks looked like chainsaw marks, like they literally mimicked chainsaw marks. Armed with a lineup that included Daphne's photo, law enforcement went to every Ace Hardware store in their local area, trying to find out if anyone had sold a chainsaw to Daphne or if anyone could identify Daphne. And finally, they got a break. One of the workers said he did sell a chainsaw to a woman and she was deaf. I keep saying deaf. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She was deaf, not death. Forgive me. He said that she came in with a note that read tree cutting machine. And at first he took her into the wrong aisle and she got confused, he got confused, and then he finally ended up taking her to the aisle with all of the chainsaws, in which she was very pleased. Wow. She wasn't too pleased though about that price. She did not like the prices. She thought that they were too expensive. And so by the end of it though, she ended up picking a chainsaw that was the least expensive. I mean, if I'm going to buy a chainsaw to cut up a body, might as well make sure that, you know, I'm not going to spend too much money on it, you know. Girl, I think the price is the least of your problems, but okay. So on top of cutting up this person's body, you're also cheap. No wonder Sally left your ass. Now, once forensic scientists were able to get into Daphne's basement, they found a whole bunch of other incriminating evidence. They found very small pieces of bone and what appeared to be human tissue on the wooden walls of the inside of that storage room in her basement. So forensic scientists collected the bone and tissue for analysis, and they took those samples and compared them from the DNA that they had obtained from Darlene's toothbrush and hairbrush. They had some hair samples and some tooth samples, I guess, from there. Oh my god, I'm just so in love with this color Grunge. This is truly a good palette. Finally, investigators got another break in the case when Darlene's DNA matched the bone and tissue found in Daphne's basement cellar. I mean, if you think about it, the paint was enough to give it away. In trying to cover her tracks, she literally highlighted the areas that investigators needed to look at. I feel like I need to make a new series of me just reacting to the dumbest criminals ever. Not the brightest bulb in the tanning bed, let me just tell you. But she's black, so she probably ain't even tanning, so there you go. Or I don't even know if she's black. She's a brown woman. But this is where police would run into a major problem because they still didn't have Darlene's body. And although the circumstantial evidence was really strong, without a body, it's really difficult to prove that the person is dead. It's really hard to get a conviction for murder without a body. So investigators had to go back to point A. They had to go back to the scene of the crime and start to look through everything again. They went back to Daphne's neighborhood and they searched through all of the trash bins from Daphne and her neighbors. But they were too late because the garbage man had already come and taken out the trash. Dang those garbage men. Are they ever late when you need them? Seriously. The garbage had already been dumped into the truck and taken to the city landfill. So police went to Sioux Falls landfill. The Sioux Falls landfill is about a 470-acre property, and it's serviced over 5 counties, totaling about 250,000 people. That's a lot of freaking people, okay? That's a lot of trash. It was a grueling 5 days for the 36 policemen that were out there shifting through trash in below 0-degree weather. I mean, it was pretty harsh. They were just hoping they could find something that would lead them to Darlene. The officers said that the conditions were so bad, like they were seriously so terrible. They were out there with pitchforks and knives. Pitchforks? Are there devils here? I don't know. You know what I'm saying. They were out there with those little pointy sticks, like picking up trash, shifting through millions and billions, not millions of trash. It was billions of trash and garbage items out there that they had to shift through. This went on for about 5 days before investigators finally got a break in the case. They found the legs and lower torso of an adult female. They also found pieces of a bloody carpet and a sweatshirt that had blood stains on it that said it had like an ASL on it, and it had graphics, which ASL stands for American Sign Language, if you guys don't know for whatever reason. It has some other signing graphics on the t-shirt as well. DNA testing revealed that it was Darlene's blood on the sweatshirt, but they also found someone else's DNA inside of the sweatshirt. Forensic scientists cut a piece out of the inside part of the sweatshirt, hoping to get a DNA profile match, and they did. And the DNA profile matched that of Daphne Wright. The sweatshirt was one of prosecutors' most crucial evidence in this case because it placed the victim and the suspect together. Then, 25 miles away, a highway patrol worker found Darlene's torso. He found it along the side of the road. Her head was severed and tied in a plastic bag. Oof. The bag with her severed head in it was tied with cord that matched the same cord that was collected by forensic scientists earlier in Daphne's garage. You know, the sad thing about all of this is that Daphne had a boyfriend. She wasn't even trying to get with Sally whatsoever. At least that's the story that Sally and Daphne, what everybody else believes. But yeah, Daphne was just convinced that Darlene was getting in the way of her and Sally's relationship, and so she she did the unthinkable, you know? Medical examiners said that Darlene suffered blunt force trauma to the head. Prosecutors believe that Daphne asked Darlene to come to the restaurant to meet with her so that they could talk about things. And once Darlene got to the restaurant, somehow she convinced Darlene to come back to her home with her and that they would talk there about the situation. Darlene trusted this woman, and unfortunately she did get into the car and go back to her house. And this is when police believe that as soon as Darlene had gotten into the house, at some point, Daphne grabbed some sort of object and hit Darlene on the head, causing her to go unconscious. And that is when she dragged her down to the basement and probably used the cord to strangle her. And the body most likely sat there for a few days. And then when she realized that police were catching on and that they was coming to search her home, that is when she went to the Ace Hardware store, bought the electric saw, chopped, I'm sorry if this is too much for you. If this is too much for you, turn off now. Dismembered Darlene's body, causing the bone fragments and the skin cells to splatter onto the walls of that cellar. She then painted the entire floor of that cellar because there was probably so much blood, it was impossible for her to just paint one spot. And she tried to cover her tracks by painting all of the spots in which blood or DNA evidence had been spilled. This would be her downfall, because all she did was highlight the evidence for forensic scientists. Seriously. Thanks to forensic science and some good police work, Daphne Wright was charged with first-degree murder. She became the first woman in South Dakota history to face a possible death sentence. Her life was spared, and she was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. I actually think that's the best thing, because honestly, she needed to suffer, just like she made Darlene suffer. So there's only one way to do that. Well, there's plenty of ways to do that, but I mean, only one legal way to do that, and that's prison. So I think that that was the best thing. What did you guys think about this case and my makeup look? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you like videos like these, check out my last episode. I'll leave a link on the screen right here. Oh, right here. You guys know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Please share. And I will see you guys next Friday with another Forensic Friday episode. Bye.